Hello, my name is Dave Dio from Arcom Digital, and today I'm going to illustrate how to upgrade the QS-SP-4 Headend Signal Processor microprocessor firmware. How do you determine what firmware your signal processor currently has? Well, if we use QS-SP-4 Manager, select Settings, System Settings. This is one of our test servers, so there won't be many hubs. But if you click on an active hub, if I slide over, I see the status of this particular signal processor is OK. Click on that hub, look down here, and you'll see Soft 23 FPGA 3. This says that this signal processor has Microprocessor software 2.3 and FPGA version 3.0. We're not concerned with the FPGA firmware at this time, only the microprocessor. So check your software revision before and after the programming to confirm that your microprocessor firmware has been upgraded. To upgrade the microprocessor, you will need power, a Phillips screwdriver, a Microchip PIC-Kit-4 programming module, a cable, and one of two micro SD cards that will come with the package. You will also need a utility to reset the IP address of your signal processor after the microprocessor update has been completed. The app can be located on our arcomdigital.com website, and if you click the Resources tab, scroll down to Install and Update, download Signal Processor IP 2.1.0.6.exe. I'd like to talk a moment about the PIC-Kit-4 programming package. In the package, you'll find the programming header nestled into the packing material. Under the packing material, you'll find a cable and a package of two micro SD cards. The cable has an adapter on it, and while you're working with it, that adapter can come off. The adapter can go on either end of the cable. So here I'm just going to install the adapter into the cable. And if you look at the cable, you've got the number 1 on both ends, only on one side of the cable. So number 1 indicates pin 1 of the cable. Pin 1 of the PIC-Kit-4 programmer is indicated by an arrow. So what I want to do is line up pin 1 on the cable with the arrow or pin 1 on the programmer and connect the cable. You'll see that there are 3 open spaces on the other side. Nothing to worry about. The SD cards are labeled, one with a red label, one with a green label. Each label has got some information on it. The red label says V4.4. That's going to be version 4.4. The green label says V2.4. That's version 2.4. And the numbers below it indicate the revision level of the circuit board that receives the program. The red label says 7.8. That's going to be board revision 7 or board revision 8. The green label says 4.5. That will be for board revision 4 or board revision 5. Start by removing the 4 Phillips screws in the back of the top cover and slide the cover back. You may find that it's difficult to slide this all the way out. You might find it's easier to slightly bend the top cover and lift one side of the top cover out like so. Once you have the cover off of your signal processor, you'll find the board revision in the lower left-hand corner of the circuit board. This one says 3101-08. That is a 08 revision board. And if you look at the card with a red label, it says version 4.4, 7.8. So the 8 corresponds with this 8. The red labeled SD card will be used with the 3101-08 circuit board. Here's an earlier version signal processor, and here you see 3101-04 on the lower left-hand corner of that board. That is the 04 revision of this board. For that, you will use the green labeled SD card, version 2.4 4/5. Here's the PIC-Kit-4 programmer, and if you turn it over, you'll see a slot for the SD card. So this revision 8 circuit board requires the SD card with a red label, version 4.4. I'm going to install it into the programmer with the red label towards the back of the programmer like this. Press all the way in, like so. With our KitPick4 programmer configured to program, we're going to make a connection to the circuit board. First you need to identify pin 1 of the cable, and then right down here on this left-hand connector, there's a 1 on the circuit board. We want to line up the 1 on the circuit board with the 1 on the cable and plug the connector in. Next we're going to power the signal processor. And this area right here is going to contain high voltage, so keep your hands away. I'm going to plug the signal processor in. I see a purple, blue, yellow, and then green LED starting to flash on the microchip programmer. You may see an LED turn on the circuit board, and that depends on the circuit board. Underneath this PickKit4 emblem, there's a micro switch, and all you need to do is firmly press on the emblem to begin programming. There you go. Flashing purple means it's programming. Back to flashing green, and your program is complete. Next, I'm going to disconnect power. I'm going to remove the programming header. Reinstall the back cover. And as you're reinstalling the back cover, I want you to note that there is a valley underneath this ledge, and this top panel slides into that valley to stop it from going down into the chassis. If I pull it back a little bit, I can definitely see that I'm pressing down. If I move it towards the front and I snap it into that valley underneath that ledge, if I press down on it, it's not going to fall down into the chassis. Now I can reinstall my 4 screws. Earlier, when we were able to determine the microprocessor firmware revision using QS Manager, we also recorded the IP address of your signal processor. Here I have 72.43.22.21. Also earlier, we downloaded Signal Processor IP version 2.1.0.6 EXE. This downloaded into your Downloads folder. Once your signal processor has been reassembled, we need to reset the IP address. Reconnect power to the back panel. And if you look at the back panel, you'll see that there is a USB port next to your IP port. Plug a USB-B cable into the USB port. After a few moments, your driver should have been loaded. You can launch signalprocessorip.exe. Here you see 2 boxes. The upper box shows the current IP address of your signal processor. The lower box is where you will enter your new settings. This default IP address, 192.168.1.137, needs to be changed for me. The IP address for my signal processor is 72.43.22.21. Once you have entered your IP address and your subnet mask if required, click the Set Device IP Port button to the right. Answer yes. And it now says to restart the application. I'm going to close this application. And your signal processor should come back online within 10 seconds. Relaunch signalprocessorip.exe and confirm that you have the correct IP address, 72.43.22.21. Your IP address is now set properly. I hope this video on the ARCOM HSP microprocessor firmware update has been helpful. If you have any questions regarding this procedure, please feel free to contact your sales engineering representative listed here.